Good afternoon, sir.
Block. Unable to share this screen. On करके.
Sir, I am unable to share the screen, sir. There is some technical issue over here, sir. That is why it's taking time, sir. Okay, sir. Bharat sir, are you audible to me, sir? Actually, my laptop's microphone is not working, sir. Okay, can I present the session with the caller ID? A very warm and welcome and good afternoon to one and all of you, especially the president of Hazaribag Sahodaya School Complex and vice president, as well as the principal of my school, that is OASIS School. I really feel obliged to get an opportunity to discuss
एक दिशा देंगे मुझे इधर
time
हट
and
चला
content
तू मेरा बात मानती है चला
on the behalf of OASIS School Hazaribag. Before starting the session, I would like to request everyone to pay your attention and mute yourself so that webinar can run smoothly without any obstacle. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, okay. Now, without wasting even a single minute, let's start the topic. And the today's topic is content and time management. Now, today I'm going to discuss the topic that is equally related with your teaching, learning, as well as time management. When you think about the time management, you often think whether it is related to us and do we really need time management? When we analyze our classroom practices, sometimes we fail to match the date or the deadline of some activities. Then we think due to some error or mismanagement of time. So the discussion time management in teaching learning is going to help us to manage our classroom time and our teaching learning time effectively. So moving on to the next slide, there is a proverb. I want all of you to read this proverb. Actually, this is the poem in junior classes. So I want all of you to read this proverb so that you can understand the importance of information, that is the content, and that particular information supposed to be delivered in a definite or in a fixed interval of time. So all of you have read that proverb, that for a want of a nail, the shoe was lost, and for want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost, and for want of a rider, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost, and for or the want of a horseshoe nail. So here the proverb relates, or from this proverb we can understand that in many situations we fail to deliver our objective, uh, and here it is being used to understand the importance of both time and content, especially in classroom. If a teacher does not prepare the study materials before entering the classroom, he or she might not be able to achieve the required objective. Okay, now from this proverb we understand that how the much information is important, and it should be delivered or it should reach to the concerned one in fixed interval of time, in a definite time. Okay, now moving on to the next slide. Now today's agenda of the meeting is control and content and time management. And the second is importance of content and time management. Now busy versus productive, creating your productivity journal, maximizing the power of productivity journal, making a making a to-do list step by step, chunk block and tackle now. Now there is a principle called Pareto's principle, 80 by 20 rule. We will discuss it later in the presentation. Now procrastination, obstacles to effective time management, identifying time wasters, and we will come to know later that what we can conclude with the time management, what we will learn after this session in time management. Now, actually, what is the time management? Here for teachers, time management, just think that time is same for everyone, whatever it is, whatever, whether it is a teacher or a doctor or a homemaker or an individual, everyone has 24 hours in a day. So this is a question we really need to think, that can we manage the time or we need to manage ourselves. Definitely we need to manage ourselves so that we can manage our time. So this is the dilemma which we all face whenever we try to manage the time. We never try to manage ourselves according to the time. So we are supposed to manage ourselves first so that we can do things on time. For us, what time management? So we can say that using the time you have available as productively as possible, as effectively as possible. So we can say that time management does not demands to work hard, rather to work smart. So the demand of the time management is to work smartly, not to work hardly. Now, what is time management actually? Is you have you just go through the definition of the time management, which is available on the presentation. Now, next, content management. Now, content management occurs when teachers manage space, materials, equipments, the movement of people, and lessons that are part of a curriculum or program of studies. Now, an example of content management is when students are working in partners on as assignment and the teachers monitor the group by circulating around the room or by moving around the room. The teacher will give feedback and assist the students as necessary. Effective classroom management should be prime responsibility of a teacher in context with content and time management. So here both time and content management are interrelated to each other. We have to deliver a particular information on time. For example, when as being a teacher, when we enter into a class, we have to complete a certain topic in a given period of time, which is around 30 to 40 minutes. So, so in order to finish that topic, we should not lengthen that topic, or we try to finish it on time. Now moving on to the next slide. What are the benefits of time and content management? If we save time, there are many ways, there are many benefits of time and content management. There are many benefits of time and content management if we do our things on time. As you can read from the presentation, that are many things. First, to save time, to reduce the stress, to function effectively, higher levels of productivity. If we are able to save our time, then we can do many things, as you can read from the presentation. Now, what are the benefits we are going to get if we do a particular task on time? Why do we need time management with content? Well, there are lots of benefits of time and content management, as you are reading from the presentation. So we can able to manage the time, and once we are able to manage the time effectively, we will able to do the things correctly or in order. So let's understand what are the benefits of time management. The most important benefits of content and time management helps you to save time. Well, time is money. In this time, if time lost, will never come back again. As we know, as being a professional, we know that time is money. But as a teacher, we know if we don't have control over our time, control over our time, then we will not be able to finish this syllabus on time. We will not be able to finish a particular topic in a single period or on a given time. So the most benefit of content and time management helps you to save the time. Well, time is money, as I told earlier. In this time, if time is lost, will never come back. So time saved is equally to money earned, as well as many things you can earn from it. That is, you can reduce your stress, you can function effectively, higher level of productivity in your job, to have more control over job responsibility, enable students to use and enjoy their learning experience. If you are preparing your study material before entering the class, then even students will use it and enjoy their learning experience. Now, getting more done in less time, you can do the things in less time if you prepare your material, study material, or the information or the content or any matter before entering the class, then you will be able to get the things done in less period of time, in a less time. Making sure you deliver what is promised, what you have planned before entering the class, make sure that you will be able to delivered in that particular period of time. Now, what are other benefits of time, content and time management? Content and time management help us to reduce stress, as I have told earlier, because we squeeze too much in a day without even realizing whether we are able to manage our time to all the different tasks that we have squeezed. So it helps you to stress free yourself. As I told you earlier, that there are many benefits of content and time management as being a teacher. Now, content and time management help us to balance between our professional and personal life also. It also helps to increase our work output. It helps us to have more control over job responsibilities as well as our work in productive manner. It helps you to prioritize. It helps us to plan our work more effectively. Now, as we are moving through the next slide, now busy versus productive. Now there is a very interesting concept. A lot of people feel that they are busy and they are also productive well. Busy does not mean being productive. Busy and productive are two different things. You might say you are busy doing something, but when someone asks you what you are doing, there is a question mark on your face and you are not sure why you are busy. Let's discuss busy and productive in detail. Being busy means busy, have numerous priorities, respond with yes very fast, keep all doors open, keep talking about how busy they are multitaskers, ask for advice. These are the things a busy person generally says. Now, productive, have a couple of priorities, think twice before saying yes, close all the doors, let's result speak for themselves, concentrate on one important goal, take real actions and get the job done. So productive people generally have couple of priorities and they think twice before saying yes to any situation. They closes all the doors of distraction and their results speaks for themselves. They concentrate on one particular goal. They do not distract from their targets. They take real actions and they get job done. Now moving on to the next slide, creating your productivity general. So the next slide tells us about how to manage our time and content is being able to create something productive. Productive journal is nothing but a time log of your day-to-day activity. What you do in your entire day, right from the time you get up to the time you retire to bed at night. So let's understand the productive journal. We should have two journals, one for personal and one for professional. It's important to bifurcate them to two journals. Always label it with time, date and day, and your name on the journal. Prioritize your first three tasks. It is very important to write down the first three tasks you need to accomplish, as it is very important to use your productive journal every day, and that crux of your managing the time proper. Next, how do you maximize using your productivity journal? It is important to plan right before, and the reason why say plan before night, it's because when you sleep at night, your subconscious mind is the most alert at that point of time, and whatever you feed into your mind, that time it stays. So before sleeping, we must prepare all the things that should be done or that is to be done on the next day or next morning. Now prioritize your task means understand what task is to be done first and what should be done in the second and third and so on. Cross off completed task. There is nothing more accomplishing or completing than putting a tick mark in your productive. Now, in order to maximize the power of productivity general, we have to plan the things before. Before entering the class, we have to plan the things. We have to give importance to our task and to cross off completed task. And if the task is not completed on that particular day, then we will carry it over to the next day. Now we will learn one by one the maximizing the power of productivity general. As I told you, if a task is not finished on that particular day on a particular period of time, carry over it to the next day. If you have been not able to complete your task in a day, it is totally fine. It doesn't matter if it could be carried over by the next day. Now moving on to the next slide. Making a to-do list. Now, to-do list is a concept which most of us really know about, but we really practice it? Do we really practice it? To-do list is very important to make sure that all your tasks get captured or completed within a specific time. So to-do list generally tell us that we have to do certain tasks or complete it within a specific period of time. There are step-by-step procedure or a step-by-step you can say what there are certain steps in a to-do list, and I really want you to follow it. So let's understand what are the 4 steps that will help you to manage our time. So here in the slide, there are 4 steps by which we will try to learn, we will try to understand that how to complete a task by making a to-do list. This is again a very important way to managing your time is chunk, block and tackle. So there were four ways or there were four steps in a to-do list. You can understand by looking at the slide that capture everything you need to do, follow ABC method of priority, how long does each next step take, tick the actions when done. So first try to capture everything you need to do. What the whole day activity you have to capture it, that what are the things you are supposed to do in the whole day. Now follow ABC method of priority, that which task is most important, you go for that and then move to the second task that, which is in your priority list, and move to the third one and so on. How long does each next step take? You just manage your time according to the task. Now take the actions when the task is done. So when you finished a particular task, take it and move on to the next task. Now we will try to understand or learn what is chunk block and tackle now. Now here also in this chunk block, there are 4 points: breakdown project, set time for a specific task, avoid interruptions, tackle one task at a time. We will learn one by one. Now chunk block is a very important way to manage your time or tackle with your time. Now when we are faced with a very huge project that we need to do, it is very overwhelming for us. It is very confusing for us. It is something that we get scared of or have afraid of or fear. Such a big task, how I gonna do it? That how we can do it such a big task? Suppose we have to take 6 periods or 7 period or 5 period in a whole day, then generally we get nervous that how we are gonna do it. Now, will you have something, it is known as chunk, block and tackle. This will help you manage your overwhelming task and get it done. How do we need to do? We need to break down the project. It is a big project. Break it down in a smaller pieces and manageable tasks that will help you get started. Second, set time for a specific task. Those small tasks that you have chose to done in a motivated way have a set amount of time. So when you have break down a complex task into a smaller task, then set time for each small task. Now avoid interruptions. So when you are moving to do a particular task, first what we have to do is to avoid interruptions. When you have blocked or rather chunked on a small pieces of task, always have a small set of time for them you will assign to each task, and also try not to get interrupted during that time. If you are focused on something, please give 100% to it. Avoid phone calls, avoid emails, avoid technology, that is dead scrolling on YouTube or Instagram or any other social activity, so that you get focused on your task. Try to just to be focused on that particular work and tackle one task at a time. As it is mentioned before, don't do multitasking. It, if you focused on one task, it gets completed much better. So multitasking is not a good thing. It will only create problem, it only consume time. So multi-switching is a better option in place of multitasking. So first try to cover or complete a particular task, then move on to the next task. This is called multi-switching. Now, next we are going to talk about the priorities of time, your time, or we can say our time. So, what is prioritizing time? Well, time management is not only about learning well how to manage your time, but it is to manage yourself with respect to time. And this concept is very beautifully shared with Mr. Eisenhower. So what Eisenhower says, what is important is seldom urgent and what is urgent is seldom important. And this concept is beautifully shared with Mr. Eisenhower. Mr. Eisenhower has told us it is important is let us understand what is important urgent matrix. We will understand what Mr. Eisenhower tried to teach us. We will try to understand through urgent important matrix. So here there are four quadrants. In first, do first, that is first focus on important tasks to be done in the same day. In second quadrant, you can see that important but not so urgent stuff should be scheduled. Now in third quadrant, delegate what is urgent but less important. Delegate to others. Don't do what is neither urgent nor important. Don't do at all. Now let's understand what is important urgent matrix. What is urgent and what is important is them a difference between the two terms. So if you don't do the important task, it becomes urgent. So let's start doing the important task before it become urgent. Here we are going to talk about four quadrants as I told earlier, that do first, then second one is the schedule, delegate and don't do. So the task has been divided into four quadrants. Let's understand in detail about urgent and important. In first quadrant, it is urgent and important means you are always running towards the facing problems, crisis, deadlines, given projects, meetings to accomplish everything in a day, and the quadrants become very important to you. Now in the second quadrant is important but not urgent. What does it mean? There are certain tasks which you need to complete, which you make sure you do in time before they become urgent. So something like preparation, presentation, value classification, planning, relationship building, recreation, empowerment, etc. These are not very important, but yet they are important if you give yourself depend in this zone. Now third quadrant, not important but it is urgent for some people. Suppose you are working, you might get some interruptions, some mails you need to send, some important phone calls which comes in your way. These are the things you need to avoid. So try to avoid being in the third quadrant. Now what's the fourth quadrant is? Not even urgent, not even important. One of the important activity says that is the social media. We are so busy with our WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. You spend so much time on these activities, but half of a day is completely wasted. Then we don't have much time to perform important tasks. So any junk mail, some calls, time wasters, kindly escape these activities. So out of all the 4 quadrants, number 2 quadrant, which is important but not urgent, once we start we in quadrant 2, we can easily manage our time. So moving on to the next slide. So what we are going to cover now is one of the fundamentals of time management. So again, it is an important urgent matrix of Eisenhower. So in the last slide, we have seen that urgent and important matrix. So again, the same thing is here. So some tasks are given in different quadrants. For example, in first quadrant, do it now, reduce it, schedule for later in the second quadrant, not urgent, and delegate and eliminate those things that are neither important, not urgent. Now, there is a principle called Pareto's principle, and what Pareto's principle says, put your efforts where they will make the most difference. So we are next going to talk about a principle that I have told you. So what the principle actually says, the Pareto's principle, also called 80-20 rule, 80 by 20 rule. Mr. Pareto came with this particular concept, which is known as Pareto's principle, way back in 1900. So what actually the Pareto's principle, or what actually he is trying to say, is to focus on 20% of your actions, which will make 80% of the results. So actually what we have to do, we have to focus on 20% of our actions, and the rest 80% will cover automatically. The Pareto's principle says, put your efforts, as written on the slide, put your efforts where they will make the most difference. Most of us try to accomplish, as we know, that most of us try to accomplish too much in a day. Everyone, all of us try to accomplish most of the things in a day. But we should, what we are supposed to do, rather we should supposed to do accomplish important thing first in a day, which only call for 20% of the activities, which will actually help you to reap lot of benefit. That is 80%. If we focus on 20% of the activities which are important for us, then we are able to reap, or we are able to extract 80%. We will able to cover the 80% of the activities if we are sincerely focused on our 20% of the activities. Now, well, even if you look back into times back, people who actually own 20% of land make 80% of the money. Why? Because they are focused on that particular piece of land. So try to understand, focus only on those tasks which are beneficial for us, which are beneficial for effectiveness, which are beneficial for our time management, which will give you 80% result. So from the slide, we can see that if we do a particular task, 20%, if we focused on 20% of our activity, then we will complete our 80% of the activity. So we have to still focus on 20% of the activity. Now moving on to the next slide. Now what are the benefits of Pareto's principle? So benefits of Pareto's principle are to identify benefits of Pareto's principle is to identify important problems, concentrate on your strength, help in undivided focus using tools most needed. So benefits of applying Pareto's principle in our life will help in identifying the important problems that we all are suffering. That is, we all are not able to manage our time and the content we are supposed to teach in the classroom. It also help in concentrating on your strength. It help in undivided focus or using different tools for teaching. It also help you to concentrate. It also helps you to concentrate on your weakness or strength. And lastly you should use the tools which is most resourceful, like time, energy, money, everything is needed, helps you is needed for this 20% action. So it helps you in that. These are certain benefits of 80-20 rule. I should really strongly recommend start doing Pareto's principle as well as urgent important matrix if we all want to manage our time little better. So we should apply these rules, Pareto's principle, and the uh, matrix, urgent important matrix in our life so that we are able to manage our time and content in the classroom in a good way. Now, in time and content management, there is a term called procrastination. What actually the procrastination means? Procrastination is the action of unnecessarily. So procrastination is the action of unnecessarily. Okay, give me a 1 minute. So, what procrastination actually means? Procrastination is the action of unnecessarily and voluntarily delaying or postponing something despite knowing that there will be negative consequences for doing so. And from the procrastination cycle, we can understand, or generally, we do lot of things. Which affect us in future. Suppose we have to finish our syllabus on time, but due to some problem or due to lack in time management, we are not able to finish it on time. So we will try to understand more what actually the procrastination. So now procrastination means not being wanting to complete a particular task, setting it off for some other time, date, month or year, saying that you want to complete the more pleasurable task rather the unpleasurable task, wanting to do the less important or urgent things rather than urgent and important things. So human beings are very lazy and careless, as we all are lazy and careless, and we also don't want to do things on that particular time. So how do we tackle procrastination? So how we are supposed to tackle procrastination, as we understand that procrastination, what actually it means. So if something that will help you really manage your time and life better. So there are 9 ways to overcome the procrastination, or many ways. So, blowing opportunities, losing precious time, not meeting goals, ruining a career, lower self esteem, making poor decisions, damage to your reputation, risking your health. So these are the ill effects, or you can say the disadvantage or the outcomes of a procrastination. So what we have to do to overcome the procrastination? If some tasks that are carried another day again, so it is better to delete that task, because you are not meant to do that task, because now it is being, you can say, overwhelmed, or it has become complex. So it is better to delete that particular task and move on to the next task. Now what is delegate? Now, delegation is the very important way of managing your time. Delegate that particular task to somebody who has time and resources. And the intelligence delegation works very well if you want to be a successful teacher or a leader. Now, second is do it. Just do the task, finish it off rather than thinking or planning. Just finish it off. 15-minute rule. Now, what does actually it means? When you have task in hand, try to complete it before 15 minutes of the deadline. So suppose when we enter into our classroom, so try to finish your content before actual time, that is 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before, so that you will able to deliver all the information to the student. Now, what we have to do it for that, chop it up. As I mentioned, if there in any overwhelming big situations and you really wondering from where do you start or supposed to start the work, chop it up into smaller pieces. Suppose we have to teach some derivations in the classroom and it is too lengthy, so we are supposed to teach the students in a pieces. So suppose there is a derivation of 1 hour, so we are supposed to do it in 1 day. Half of the derivation should be done in 1 day, and the other half in the next day by recapping the first day derivation or by revising the first day derivation. Now, if you are not able to do that, ask for some advice from your seniors. If you want to escape from procrastination, you need to ask for advice from our elders or from our seniors. Do a research by your seniors, your leaders who help you rather than procrastinated. Now, moving on to the next slide. Obstacle. What are the obstacles in effective time management, or what are the obstacles in not only an effective time management, because we have already understood that time management as well as content management both are interrelated to each other. So in order to finish a particular content or a particular information, we have to manage our time effectively, and for that purpose, what are the different things we are supposed to do to manage our time effectively? So here in the slides, there are many things are there. For example, too many tasks on our schedule. We should admit that there are always more tasks we need to than we think. Too many interruptions, lack of priority. These are the obstacles in effective time management. Procrastination, as we have discussed earlier, that procrastination is also one of the things that affects our time management. Now, lack of organization in ourselves, lack of strategic directions. So, what are the obstacles? Unclear objectives. One of the most important things that if we are not clear with our objectives before entering into the class, then we will not be able to deliver what we are supposed to deliver. Nothing can be more irritating than being disorganized. Now, lack of planning also is one of the obstacle to effective time management. If you do not plan you are not able to do your work on time. Now, interruptions also play a major role in effective time management. Now moving on to the next slide, identifying time wasters. We all are supposed to identify our time wasters, that where we waste our times, where we get distract. So there are many things because of that we waste our time, like interruption, distraction, trying to do everything, crisis management, not valuing your own time, lack of a skill, and trying to do everything, as I told earlier, not talking on too much time. So these are the things that wastes our time. So we waste 80% of our daytime in those activities which are not really supposed to do and which are not really productive. So definitely we must understand to avoid these things so we are able to manage our time. So what is the conclusion of this in-house training or webinar? That what we are supposed to do, manage our time and to manage our class in an effective way so that we are able to do or manage things in a good manner, in a proper manner. So what the time management has taught me: take advantage of higher priority tasks, do not procrastinate, stop spending time on not important tasks, completing the work when it is originally assigned to, get it out of the way before the next assignment is due. So there are certain problems that grip us and waste your time. Once you know how to deal with this, you can manage your time better. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that time is equal to money. Time spent or time lost never come back. Learn how to prioritize, learn how to schedule your priority, learn how to manage your time better. If you want to be a successful leader, successful person in your life, manage your time smartly. Now I will share the attendance link and the assessment form. So all of you requested to fill the assessment form first. Already I think it has been shared. So all of you, thank you being a part of this, and
Thank you, sir.
especially I'd like to thank Bharat sir
Thank
for
you so much.
to conduct this session. Yes, Nima ma'am.
सर रिसर्च पर्सन का क्या नाम है? त्रिपुरारी, निधि गुप्ता या साबी अहमद?
Actually, Sabi Ahmad ma'am. There is some problem
Thank you.
with my laptop, ma'am. That is why I'm not able to join with my ID, ma'am.
Thank you.
You can see from the front page the resource person name.
क्या नाम है दीदी?
Ma'am, please turn off your mic, ma'am.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
I am Peter Saunders speaking, but over here in the front page is showing that Nidhi Gupta is presenting. We don't see any other person's name here.
No, actually, on the slide you can see, sir, that resource person is Sabi Ahmad, sir. On the
Okay,
first
so we
page,
enter that, okay?
you can see, sir.
Yes,
The
sir.
name
All right, sir. Yes, it's okay, sir.
Sabi Ahmad.
Thank you.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
Yes, sir.
सर एक्चुअली इसमें सर अटेंडेंस कैसे बनेगी सर और लैप पे मैं ऑन किया हूँ तो सर
सर आप वो लिंक पे क्लिक करें सर एंड फ्रॉम
बोलिए
देयर
बस
यू
एक्चुअली ये लैपटॉप में ओपन है सर तो फिर उसमें कैसे करूँ सर
even Bharat sir has shared the link for attendance and the assessment form.
ओके सर
You just click on that link, sir. It will lead to you the assessment form page.
लिंक पे ही क्लिक करना है सर नहीं हो रही सर
What, sir?
सर एक्चुअली सर इसमें सर वो अटेंडेंस बनानी थी सर तो फिर नहीं हो रही है सर
यहाँ पे तो है सर
Actually,
वो लिंक पर क्लिक करने से तो वो पेज खुल रहा है सर
लैपी में सर कनेक्ट कर रहा हूँ और लिया तो सर वो कैसे फिर होगी
मेक अटेंडेंस ऑन योर लैपटॉप सर
व्हाट सर
आप लैपटॉप पे भी असेसमेंट फॉर्म फिल कर सकते हैं सर अटेंडेंस फॉर्म फिल कर सकते हैं सर आप
कैसे सर
लैपटॉप में आप चैट सेक्शन में जाइए सर
लैपटॉप के चैट वो कहाँ से सर
सर आप मीटिंग के चैट सेक्शन में जाइए सर
मीटिंग के चैट सेक्शन में सर इन कॉल मैथमेटिक्स सर
यस सर फॉर सर एक ट्रायंगल एक स्क्वायर और एक सर्कल उसी के बगल में आपको चैट विद एवरीवन का ऑप्शन होगा सर
सर इसमें सर एक कैंडल वाले सर एक ये सर ये वाले सर पीपल सो एवरीवन
on the bottom of
chat
your
chat with everyone
yes chat with everyone आप उसमें
हाँ
जब
सर
क्लिक you will get the assessment link there sir
वो सर एक लिंक
लिंक सर आई हैव सेंड द लिंक मेनी टाइम्स ओके और लिंक थोड़ा 10-15 मिनट खुला रहेगा अभी नहीं भी भर पा रहे हैं तो बाद में लिंक कॉपी कर लीजिए उसको भर लीजिए है ना थैंक यू सबीर सर
thank you Bharat sir
थैंक यू
for being part of the session thank you all of you